The left has a sick obsession with their children. Just today, think about the last 24 hours for the White House. They want to force face cloth coverings on 2-year-olds on airplanes and force teach them about sexuality and gender ideology at kindergarten. I mean, when my daughter goes to school, I don't want her learning about those things, coming home and being taught things that I then have to explain to her. And of all the issues to cry and get upset about, Sean, there's a war in Ukraine. There is bloodshed in our streets, children literally dying on the streets from crime that is totally out of control and rampant. There is COVID, where more Americans have died on Joe Biden's watch than on President Trump's. There is a lot to cry about. Namely, if you want to cry about one issue in this country right now, I think the press secretary should cry about the 62 million children that do not exist, that have been aborted because of Roe v. Wade, a heinous decision in this country that has exterminated about 1/5 of the United States population. So if you want to cry, don't cry about forcing sexuality on kindergartners.
Okay, so there's a lot that we have to jump into there. First of all, I do want to give Kayleigh McEnany credit. She knows what her skill set is, and it is sort of fairly brainless, knee-jerk whataboutism there. It is the easiest trick ever. Oh, this thing that sounds bad? Well, what about the organ thieves? And what about the street gangs? And what about the rising, yes, you can rattle off a lot of things. I got news for you. When Trump was president, there were bad things happening too. And if they're gonna cry about something, why not cry about this one thing that I've randomly decided to focus on? Okay, that's fine. That's how you can use your time. We're talking about a serious issue. By the way, she undercuts herself quite a bit there, talking about how more people have died from COVID under Biden than Trump. Well, first of all, Biden has now experienced far more months of COVID than Trump did. Also, you guys have been encouraging people from the very beginning that COVID isn't a serious thing and you don't have to worry about it. So you've hardly been on the right side of that. I understand pointing that out is pointless. They know and they don't care. But there, what she is responding to is the fact that Jen Psaki broke down in tears while talking about the anti-LGBTQ laws that have been passed, about the new wave of stigma against this community, about the bullying that will come about as a result of it. And Kayleigh McEnany there is not having any of it. I think that she kind of projected a little bit what her real fear is, because she slipped up briefly. Did you notice that? When she said, I don't want my kid learning something and then coming back and teaching, having been taught something to me. Sounds like you're worried about them knowing something that you don't and expressing thoughts that you don't like. And I get it. What you want is indoctrination that comports with your worldview. A lot of parents want that, but you're not doing a good job of hiding it. Anyway, Kyla, what do you think about all that?
It's just frustrating, because if they really cared about children, they would listen to what experts say about comprehensive sexual education, that it helps children and improves their communication and social skills. It prevents things like teen pregnancy and STD rates. And it can even help prevent sexual abuse by making them aware of the warning signals like stranger danger. Like, Republicans aren't actually interested in having these discussions, because that isn't their goal. Their goal isn't to protect children. It's to win an election and be as bigoted and oppressive and racist and anti-LGBTQ, homophobic, transphobic along the way. And so, all of what was coming out of her mouth were contradictions. This is the same network that, Tucker Carlson was putting out pro-Putin sentiments. But then they're saying, the Ukrainian war, it's full of contradictions, full of hypocrisy. They don't really care. They want to win elections. They want to get power. They want to get their base's money.
Exactly, that's what it is. And they have largely all agreed on this strategy. I mean, what you just saw there was effectively a little bit of cover on just QAnon BS. That is all that they have now. There's a sick obsession with our kids. And by the way, we talked about QAnon for literally years, trying to remind people that that's still out there, that it's still scary, and everybody sort of moved on. I understand there was a lot happening during the Trump years, but it is now, it has lost a little bit of its identifying characteristics, and it has become the default political discourse on the right. Everything is the pedophiles are coming for your kids. And Democrats, I don't know, maybe come up with something. We had that Michigan state senator who had a good speech earlier this week about it. Don't hear a lot from that. This is transparent, it is evidence-free. There's every reason that in a rational world, this wouldn't work to motivate your base for a long time. In the complete absence of evidence of wide-scale pedophilia and the fact that the right seems perfectly happy with sexual predators on their own side, including known pedophiles, All of that are reasons to believe that this wouldn't work as a strategy. In a rational world, which we don't live in our world, it's probably gonna be highly effective in getting them politically invested. And so this is something that deserves a reaction, and we're just really not seeing that from the Democrats.
Yeah, it's completely unfortunate because, again, like the Republicans, their side is just so easy to demolish with facts and logic and actual common sense. And the Democrats have never had a strong offensive, because that would mean they would have to actually change things. They would have to, like, show that the system is, messed up. They would have to stop capitulating to their corporate interests and actually give money back in the hands of the people. They're not interested in doing it either. And so the Republicans, they completely are just morally, like, corrupt, and they don't give a damn. But Democrats, some of them do, and so they're fine with small, like, little increments of change. But that's not what we are actually calling for, and that's not what gives a strong offensive to the Republicans' BS.
Yeah, exactly. No, and you're totally right. And look, at the same time that we're describing this as a generalized strategy, which it is, they've all landed on this. It's a national thing now. It's very easy to do, and you don't have to make any specific claims. That's why they're doing it. At the same time, there are individual people and groups that are being harmed. When some random teacher's comments are completely misconstrued by libs of TikTok and they end up getting fired or harassed out of their job, that is a victim of this. When people's rights are being stripped away at the state level, that is many victims of this. So we do have to fight against it for strategic reasons, for pragmatic political reasons, but also because there are an ever increasing number of victims of this sort of nonsense. And the Democrats just don't seem to be taking it seriously. For more political news breakdowns, interviews, stories of activism, and me trying my hardest to care about the occasional big celebrity news story, subscribe to our YouTube channel at youtube.com/The Damage Report. And you can ring the bell wherever it is so you don't miss anything.